Hi everyone, so this is going to be the last video of our series of the roles and responsibilities of different positions of EC. So in this video I'm going to tell you about the role of the president. So from the name you might think so that the president's role must involve a lot of work, a lot of deadlines. But if you see, this role actually requires the least amount of work. Now the VP has to create an agenda by a certain date. The secretary has to create a certain MOM by a certain date. And ask Vishesh, he always has to make word of the day, posters of the week, or something or the other. But if you see, the president has no such deadline related work. So what exactly does the president do? Now the work of the president is more about a listening role, more about an thinking role, more about an understanding role. Now, to tell you about the exact role, you can refer to the email which we sent you a couple of days ago. It has the entire roles and responsibilities of all the persons. But to give you a nutshell of what I do on a day-to-day basis. Now, just for an example, in one of the meetings, I realized that the GE was a little too strict on one of the new members. Now, this becomes the responsibility of the president to call the VP head and make sure that the VPA talks to the GE, that current GE, and explain him how exactly the GE should be done. Also, to personally talk to that member that whether he is demotivated or motivated. If I am not talking, let the VPA do the talking. So that issue becomes resolved. A few weeks ago, I realized that a lot of our meetings were going past 9:15. So we had a decision to make whether to do 3 speeches or 4 speeches. We realized let us try for 4, and then if it does not end on time, we'll go for 3. So personally, I called the VP and told him to talk to every TMOD and explain them in detail the whole timelines of TMOD. And hence the issue was solved, because in the next 3-4 meetings, all the TMODs ended on time, all the speakers ended on time, and every meeting ended at 9 p.m. So you are getting the gist of the role. You have to think. You have to yourself identify any problem which you see is happening in the club, and then first you have to try that your team could solve it. If not, then you have to empower your team to solve that problem. If that is not possible, then you yourself have to go and solve that problem. Now, the final question, who should go for the president? I think if you have spent enough time in TMND, you realize every role. What exactly does the GE do? What exactly does the speaker do? What exactly does the TMOD or the evaluator do? A, you should have a good knowledge of every possible role. B, you should have a decent knowledge of how the pathways work. C, you should be willing to be creative and spend time and energy with the club. Now, as I said, it does not mean actual work, actual deadlines, but it involves being involved in everything, actively listening to what the members want and what is the present vibe in the club. Now, whether a person should go or not. So as a lot of you know, for the first 4 years, I never wanted to be a part of EC. I did not take part in any elections ever, and I directly became the president. But if somebody asks me now, I will highly recommend a person to go for the president if they have the credentials to prove that they can be a good president. Because the kind of exposure you will get here is unparalleled. Even in a job, you will be managing 6 to 7 people or 10 or even 50 people, but all those people are paid. If they are not working, you can threaten them with promotion or not promoting them and things like that. But here you get a team of volunteers. Every person is different. Everyone is actually doing something else, and Toastmasters is their second priority. So to make a team of 7 people work in a positive manner towards the club, that I think is a little bit of challenge and will improve your interpersonal skills. Also, I think when you become the president, then you realize the responsibility as the face of the club is on you to become a better speaker. So you put focus on that also. So in a nutshell, when you go for the president, not only emerge as a good speaker, you emerge as a person with good interpersonal skills. You become a better leader. You learn how to actively manage your time. And most importantly, you become a really good listener. So I hope we have a lot of nominations for the post of president. And I hope every one of you is really listening to these 7 videos of our EC and then deciding to go for one or the other position. Believe me, it's really going to be an experience full of learning, whether you go for president or SA or any position of this EC. And all the best for people who are applying. May the best person win.